What's up, folks? Slightly different camera angle today because we are going down and coming up. We are talking about the squat. So if you ever are doing a series of CrossFit workouts, you've come for a couple weeks, maybe you've been doing this for a couple years, whatever, CrossFit's like Hawaii and rain when it comes to squats. And what I mean by that is if you're ever in Hawaii and it's raining a lot and you're like, God, when's it gonna stop raining? Just wait 5 minutes, it's gonna stop. If you're ever in Hawaii and you're like, man, it hasn't rained in a while, just wait 5 minutes because it's probably gonna start raining again. CrossFit's the same way with squats. If you've been doing CrossFit a while and you're like, man, we're just squatting all the time. Just wait 5 minutes, we'll stop, we'll start pulling and pushing a lot more. Or if it's like, man, we haven't squatted in a while, don't worry, just wait, we're gonna be squatting a ton. So, the squat, it is the foundational movement, this is my opinion, Jack Ryan's opinion, the foundational movement of CrossFit. Everything else revolves around the squat. If you've got a good squat, you can probably do and fix most everything else or not. As long as that squat is solid, you're gonna be good to go. What do I mean by a solid squat? And we're just gonna talk about the air squat today, and then we're gonna see how that translates to wall balls, which are in today's workout, and why if my squat's a little, those wall balls might be a little bit typical. All right, so the squat. 4 points of performance. I know there's 5 things written here, but just think. We are talking about maintaining a neutral spine. I'll explain what that means. Weight stays in the heel, a straight line of action, full range of motion, and your knees tracking outside of your toes. Why do these translate to something over here? Well, because these are your points of performance that as the coach, I can watch and cue you on, but these are what they are doing. So, neutral spine, what does that mean? It means I'm maintaining my midline stability. If I've got a nice tight belly, like someone's gonna punch me in the gut, my spine is neutral, it's protected. This rules all. Nothing else matters in CrossFit when we're squatting. If I'm squatting like this, stop, all stop. And you might feel like the coach is picking on you, making you really arch your back, making you squeeze your belly. They're not. They're saving your L4 and your L5 and making sure that you can squat effectively so that when you're 90, you can go to the bathroom by yourself without a ruptured L4, L5. So neutral spine, what does that mean? Midline stability. Weight in the heels. You gotta step out a little bit. What does that mean? Well, if my weight stays in my heels, that means when my butt goes back and I come down to the bottom of my squat, I am initiating and moving myself with my posterior chain, AKA my butt, which is the big muscle mover. All right, line of action. What does that mean? It means core to extremity. It means if I move and the first thing that moves are my knees, dunk, that is a core to extremity violation. Core, my hips initiate, then my knees bend, and I go to that full range of motion depth. So line of action just meaning maintaining that core to extremity movement. Full range of motion. The squat starts, hips fully extended. It finishes when my hips pass below, I gotta get a little bit further, when I pass below the crease in my knees. Oh, look at that, I touched the ball with my butt. That's full range of motion. This is not full range of motion on a squat. Why? Why is that bad? Well, if I stop halfway, I'm putting a ton of shear force on my knees. I'm making it a quad dominant movement. Maybe I can get away with that loss of neutral spine and it feels like I'm doing a squat, but you're not. Full range of motion. Take the joint all the way through, hips and knees, full range of motion. And then knees over toes. Why knees want to track over toes? It's kind of the same reason we tell you to externally rotate that shoulder. You're creating a force out, or that torque that is creating a force out. If my knees are tracking over my toes, my hips are externally rotated, and I'm in a much more stable pelvic position to stand through that squat. Those are your points of performance. Why do they matter in something like a wall ball? Well, watch, I'm gonna put away my butt. What do we start with? Neutral spine. If my spine is bent and I go to do that wall ball, oh my God, that is going to be so painful on your low back when you are done. But if I've got that nice neutral spine and I come all the way down, let's get a little bit further away so you can see, and I come all the way down, right? I am supporting and protecting my back to do those wall balls. This is the long one, sorry, we're going over 5 minutes. My posterior chain activation. You do 100 wall balls, next day you feel great, second day, your squats. I can't walk down the stairs, my quads hurt so much. Well, because you were using your quads instead of your butt and your hamstrings. Send those hips back, keep the weight in the heels. When I'm doing those wall balls, if I've got that ball nice and close to my midline and I send my butt back and I stay in my heels, well now when I stand, I'm standing and throwing that ball with my hips, my butt, and my hamstrings. If I'm forward on my toes and I'm here, it's a whole heck of a lot harder. Heels bolted in the ground. Make it a good squat. Core to extremity. My arms are gonna get tired because I'm throwing that ball. But if I throw the ball with my hips, oh, look at that. And I initiate and stand, my arms are just sending that ball with direction rather than actually throwing it. Range of motion, this one kills me. People think a wall ball, I wanna make it faster. I'm gonna shorten my range of motion. The more you can get that all the way depth and explode out of the bottom, the more oomph you have, the easier it's gonna be to get that ball to height. And then finally, external rotation on those knees. It's all about those hips and the posterior chain. If I'm internally rotated, I'm not getting access to that power, and I'm putting a boatload of strain on the internal the internal ligaments of those knees. It just looks, it looks bad, but it is bad, and it'll start to make your knees, your ankles, icky, not good. So what would that look like if I'm letting my knees track forward? Oh my God, I can just feel it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. Oh God, rather than those knees going out and getting that explosion of that ball up to full height. Hopefully you're able to see that. That's our points of performance. We're not just picking on you when we say go deeper, drive your knees out, send your hips back. We're saving your life. That's dramatic. We're just making you a better squatter. All right, see you on the creek.